That's what you get for union labor.
Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. We are the two kings of the Rube Empire, even though you can't see us right yet. Give me a second.
Flexing for no reason. I'm flexing for no reason right now.
Yeah, you're flexing for no reason. You're the only one who can see
literally.
it, but that's pretty much why you flex anyway. There we go. We are the two kings of the Rube Empire. Right-wing extremists extraordinaire, enemies of the state, the deep state, the deep underground military complex, the satanic cabal, and the New World Order. I'm the Philosopher King, the Ivory Tower, and I've got a perspective on things. Take it, Ray.
Listen, Daddy, I am the son of a plumber. I have wined and dined with kings and queens. I have lived off pork and beans. I am the American dream. The strong one, the people's champ, the people's choice. And ladies and gentlemen, I do, in fact, have a perspective on things. And sadly, I must yield time, space, reality, providentially to Dusty.
That's right. That's right. This is the Dusty, the one, the only, the producer, the kick-ass Duke. Oh, by the way, I have a perspective on things. So, shall we deep dive into these? I think we shall. There's a lot to cover today. We've had a lot that's been happening since, what was it? Ray, what's it been, 3 weeks now?
Bro, here's the deal. The American dream has been all over nowhere. And when I say that, I say that respectfully. I've been all over nowhere. And it's very, how do I say this, man? I appreciate that God allowed me to grow up in the great state of Ohio. But I'm also glad that God gave me the free will to leave the great state of Ohio. Okay? Thank God.
So that meme I sent you was real?
Yeah. I posted it. I posted it immediately because it's so true. The thing is, the only reason it's called Stockholm Syndrome is because Stockholm, figured it out first before Ohio. But my thing is this, the reality is this, right? I've been to Ohio, and then I can say this because my brother and sister will never watch this podcast, so it's okay. I get away with saying this. So we had a family vacation in the Outer Banks. Now, again, I'm not dissing people who really like the Outer Banks, but here's the problem, okay? And I'm going to sound very elitist, snooty, but it is what it is, okay?
You are a king.
I drove 11, huh?
You are a king. It's in your nature.
I am a king.
Yeah.
So round trip, I drove about 24 hours.
Sounds about right.
About 12 hours up, 12 hours back.
Yeah.
To North Carolina to go to the beach. Now, I want you to imagine our Florida beaches, our pristine, beautiful, sandy beaches, warm water, clear water.
Oh, you mean on the West Coast?
Even on here's the deal. You go to the Outer Banks, you're going to change your mind. Because here's the dealio.
It has been a while since I've been to an East Coast.
Okay.
And I've nenever been actually to a West Coast beach.
Okay. Yeah,
I've lived in Florida my whole life. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
The West Coast beaches are clearer, but they're warmer. So you're like swimming in a bathtub.
Yeah, it really is.
I like the East Coast beaches just because they're cooler, but they're not frigid freaking cold like the Outer Banks. And I can actually see what's going on in the water. So when you go to places like Miami Beach, it's gorgeous. It's like the Caribbean, right? You go to places like Ponce Inlet, which is my favorite beach here. Flat all the way out, and you can see what's in the water, and that's an East Coast beach. So we're used to that. So I want you to imagine we're in Ponce Inlet about 5 weeks ago. Amazing weather, warm, great temperature for the water. Then we drove 12 hours to go to not that, if that makes sense. So gravy sand, rocks in the sand. You literally have to walk up sand dunes to go down to the beach, and then when you get down to the beach, then you got to go back down another like sand ridge or some crap like that to get to freaking cold black water. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember the cartoon Sinbad and the Seven Seas, like the dark water that would chase the boats and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's what we went to. So long story short, yeah, it was an adventure. It was really cool. So, but again, my Ohio people, they're very excited about the Outer Banks. Like my whole family's like, oh my gosh, the Outer Banks. It's like on both sides of my family, my mom's side, my dad's side. And they don't get it because they don't live in a place with actual good beaches. So they think that's awesome because they live in cornfields.
Have you ever invited them down to a...
Florida's too hot. Florida's just too hot, but we'll go 11 hours.
They're right, though. They're right, though.
Soft.
Florida is too
hot. Florida's hot, but it was like 100 degrees there, too. So it's a wash, no matter how you look at it. So you go out there.
The difference with Florida, and you don't get this at the beaches, is because it's windy and whatnot. But the difference in Florida is just the humidity. It's insane. Once you break a sweat, you're not going to stop sweating until you get into air conditioning, because there's no relief. The air around you cannot absorb any more moisture.
Coach's challenge. I'm throwing the red flag onto the field. Okay. If you're by the beach, what do you have?
That's what I said. Not for the beaches. I'm saying
yes.
Yeah, in the regular areas.
Yeah, it's hot.
At the beach, of course, you got ocean breeze.
Heck yeah, yeah. So it feels good. Yep. So, but all I'm saying is, I don't want to have to climb sand dunes to go down sand dunes to go down other sand dunes to freeze my balls off to then climb up a sand dune, then up another sand dune, down another sand dune to get to the beach. I'm sorry. I'm a Floridian. I want to park and walk right into the water as God intended. So I've labeled the Outer Banks the Karen Keys. So that's what it is. Like, so, and here's the thing. And here's the deal. Okay. First of all, did you see your boy? USMC bet Florida's too hot and white bread is spicy. Sorry. So, what was I gonna say? Everything on that island shuts down at 7:00 at night. Everything. Yeah. And then on top of it, like all the shops. Let me give you an idea of the shops. It's outlet malls and Christmas stores.
It sounds like Florida.
So it's a haven for recently divorced 40-year-old women that want to pretend that they're at the beach. So it is the Karen Keys. Congratulations. Me and Charity kept calling it that all week. We're like, we're in the Karen Keys. This is great. So exciting. And the other thing was funny is like people would ask us like, oh, where are you? I'm like, well, how New York, whatever. We're like, Florida. And they're like, what are you doing here? And I was like, that's a great question. Because I love my family. I love my family, and that's why I'm here. So long story short, I was in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, cornfields and misery. Then I went to the Karen Keys for 3 weeks. So I'm refreshed and ready to go at Plausible Foolishness, baby. Let's go.
Let's see. Well, how was your week, Dusty? Wait, no. How was your week, Dusty?
Pretty good. Getting ready to go on vacation, all that fun stuff. So,
let the people know where you're headed.
Well, I'm headed out to Colorado. Going to see some cool stuff. Garden of the Gods. There's the dunes out in Colorado that we're going to go see. A couple of soccer games. Then we're heading north to South Dakota and going to see Mount Rushmore and
nice.
Ride a roller coaster down a mountain.
You go to the Badlands?
No, probably not going to go to the Badlands.
Okay.
Are you still taking your detour to Texas?
Yeah, we're taking the detour through Texas. We're taking the southern route to Colorado, and then a northern route back.
Very cool. Very cool.
So it should be fun. 20-day trip.
You ready?
Oh yeah, I've been ready to go for like a week now.
I'm excited.
My brain is already checked out on vacation like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
My brain's like,
You picked a great
why
time
are
to
you trying to work?
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
To
budget
drive
for that has
for 20 days
I've
straight.
had to expand my budget by doubling it
Yeah.
Jeez.
just to afford the gas to get through this trip.
So we budgeted for this trip. Like we had like 3 vacations basically in a row, right? Our budget went out to the crap immediately because of the gas prices, inflation, food. I mean, it's insane, man. Like because we plan for our vacations like a year in advance. We're like, okay, a year from now, you're gonna be doing this, save the money for this.
Yep.
We had no shot. We had no shot of like actually budgeting this thing. It was insane, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had to cut a lot of stuff out. We were going to go do a bunch of pay for stuff when we got to Colorado. Nope, that's not happening. Everything we're doing is all free. So we're doing like the Air Museum out there, and Garden of the Gods is free. The dunes are free.
Yep.
All of that because, luckily we've got very, very good friends out in Colorado Springs. So we're going to go see them and stay with them. So that's kind of where we're saving a lot of money.
Nice.
He loved to
For sure.
smoke meat, and so he's going to be grilling out a bunch of stuff for us, and I'm looking forward to that.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, smoking some meat.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I mean, oh, you mean actually like barbecue? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, smoking
bad.
some rib roast or rump roast.
Boy.
Roast, jeez.
Boy.
So very excited.
So-
We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a blast.
I wish Vladimir Putin wouldn't have made things so expensive for me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know,
He's the devil. But wait, I'd like to talk about my week, if I could.
I was going to say, Matt, how was
if
your
I
week?
could. So, we met with our realtor on Friday, and we signed the contracts to start the process of selling our house.
Okay.
We're good.
We're paring everything down. I've been sweating all day, cleaning out this stupid garage so that we can move stuff out of the regular house into the garage so that people can come into our house and make it look and feel like it's more spacious than it is.
Okay.
But on Tuesday, on Tuesday I tweaked my back climbing out of the back of a pickup truck. And so
Your pickup truck?
No, my wife's uncle's pickup truck. They came to pick up our extra refrigerator and the dishwasher that we had in the garage. And it was just a normal move, but like I twisted my hips as I was, stepping down, and bada bing, bada bing, bada boom, stiff back all Wednesday. And that's all. And I blame the Iron King, 100%.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Okay,
Because
why?
Where was your iron?
Because 2 years ago, maybe 3, the Iron King got me into lifting weights. And one day I went to a place called Power Strength Gym where he liked to frequent, and he's like, "Let's do some deadlift PRs." And I was like, "Okay, I don't know anything about lifting. Let's do it." And so at the end of the day, I deadlifted 275 pounds. It felt good. It did.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that I know nothing about weightlifting, the Iron King told me, now you don't want to deadlift for quite some time, buddy, okay? Your body needs to rest, and your back especially is one of those areas that needs to rest a long time. No, he didn't say that. He said nothing. And so a week later, I'm like, time to go back to my normal schedule. And I deadlift, and granted, on my fault, my form was a little weird for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking, but I also wasn't ready to be doing that. And I tore my back up. I've never had back problems my entire life, despite having a mile-long back. Never. And I cannot get rid of this stupid lower back issue now.
It's
All
because
thanks to that guy.
you haven't returned to the Iron King. You have to return back, and I can teach you the secret ways, the ancient ways, my friend.
The ancient ways. No, you are right about that. I have not done any work on my lower back to get it like strong again.
You use it, you use it or you lose it, bro. You use it or you lose it, man. That's how it goes.
Well,
Just
no, I didn't. I used it and I wrecked it, and I haven't recovered from it. So yeah, no. But hey, all this selling, this move, we're gonna buy an RV and move into that, and we're actually really excited about it.
Nice.
And it's gonna save us a lot of money. And one of the things that I'm going to spend a little bit of that extra money on a gym membership, and I'm going to get swole. And so,
what?
Yeah, damn right.
I mean, I have a home gym, and you have a mobile home. I mean, we're
that's also true. We'll be a lot closer.
You can bring your home to his gym, now you have a.
I mean, don't be like cousin. What's his face from what is that show? Christmas Vacation. What's his name?
Oh, I don't know. I hate that movie.
Shitter's full.
Yeah, no, we won't be emptying our tank in the storm drain.
Drains. Oh my gosh! No, bro. I like it. I'm excited. You excited for this next phase of life?
Yes. I mean, I can see the stress reduction in my wife's just whole demeanor just because we've been decluttering and throwing crap away. Like, there's just so much stuff that you collect and that you don't need. We don't need any of this. You know? We don't need it. I need a computer, a TV, and a place to cook food and sleep. That's it. You know?
With you. Hey,
that's and some books, but you can get that on the computer, so.
Hey, bro. Just saying. Listen, I'm about that simplification life, so I'm with you, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't against you on that.
Yeah.
Like, every time we move,
and we're gonna be debt free by the end of this. Completely debt free. We're gonna have a bunch of money growing. You know.
Yep.
It's good. It's really. I think it's the best move, and maybe someday we'll buy some land later. It'll be a few years, but whatever.
A lot of people are doing that, man. A lot of cats are doing that, so it's exciting. I like it.
Well, and we did it. We were forced to do it for a year, and we did not hate it at all.
Yeah.
And so doing it now, we know that we can do it. We've already done it, and we didn't have a problem doing it. We really didn't. So
nice.
That's what's new in the Philosopher King's life. But now let's hit quick state of the kingdom. But what were you gonna say?
You gonna post up at the church now? I mean, like church parking lot, man. Just
what's his face? Mike said that he thinks they have hookups there.
I know,
dude.
I think they do.
If we could hook up and just stay there, the money we would save is incalculable.
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it is. It's true. You can calculate it. Sorry, but I exaggerated. But we would save a ton of money.
Yeah.
Just saying, bro. Man, I love it.
Hey, man, you know people. You know people.
So,
who?
You do.
I don't know nobody, bro. Nobody knows me.
I didn't say anybody knows you. I said you know people.
I don't know nobody, man. I'm just a midnight
rider. There's everything about that statement was a lie.
I don't know nobody, dog. Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
So shall I wade us into the shallow end first?
Yes, please.
Well, I just have a quick question before you go to the shallow end. quick question. I'm a little okay. Isn't natural gas bad?
No, not
well,
that I'm aware of.
Well,
It's
okay,
pretty
well.
clean.
Don't you
Well,
have to
natural
front-
gas
Depends on who you're talking
is-
to, though.
Well, I mean,
and
like
when
mainstream
natural
media.
gas is happening. So
Huh?
that can also be a factor.
I mean,
So I mean,
but,
if you just let one rip in the middle of a nice dinner,
Yeah.
that's not good natural gas.
But I'm saying the mainstream media, Hollywood, academia, they told me that like anything fossil fuels or natural gas is evil because it ruins the planet, right?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, never mind that, after we got out of the Paris Accords, we actually went down in emissions because we started using natural gas more. We actually beat what we had agreed to in the Paris Accords by switching to natural gas more than coal. But, I'm just a lowly right-wing extremist. So
Sure.
what do I know?
But,
I'm a
but
stupid idiot.
also, natural gas burns a lot cleaner than coal does. So that kind of has something to do with it as well. Oh, by
Yeah,
the
but
way,
you're a right-wing
there's no
extremist
other
too.
country in the
So
entire world that has as much natural gas as the United States.
now, but we're told it's bad, correct? It's bad.
Correct,
According to the
yes.
mainstream, it's bad.
It's horrible.
Okay.
Horrible.
Part two of the question. I thought the sea levels were rising.
Yeah, don't you know that?
yeah.
They're
Because
having to
we use
evacuate
natural
beaches
gas.
around Florida.
Okay, because we use natural gas, the sea levels are rising.
Correct.
Last question, and then we're going into the wading into the shallow end.
Okay.
Why are the Obamas installing a 2,500 gallon propane tank under Martha's Vineyard property right by the sea? If all those things are bad,
They probably want to grill their house.
Probably for heating and energy usage because they're complete a-hole hypocrites.
but they're bad. Natural gas is causing the sea levels to rise. So why would you have a property right next to the sea and then buy a product that helps that process help out? I mean,
Yeah, they're absolute scumbags. They're the worst kind of people.
Yeah.
natural gas and climate change and
Listen, Ray. Natural gas is bad for you. Natural gas is good for them.
Sorry, totally messed up. Gotcha. And rising sea levels.
It's just like
are
jet
bad for
fuel.
me. Got it.
It's just like jet fuel.
Jet fuel is okay for them, but it's not okay for everybody else.
See,
They're out there
thought-
saving the planet with their words.
Listen, I literally just thought, I didn't want the Obamas to be hypocrites again. Okay. So I just really did not want them to be hypocrites. You know what I mean?
No, that's too late.
Ain't nothing you can do about that.
No,
All
it's way
right,
too
State
late
of the
for that.
Kingdom. Let's go.
Okay. Did you guys hear about this little movie that just came out last week by Pixar? I don't know if you've heard of it. Lightyear.
oh, it's called woke year.
Woke year.
Come on, bro.
I thought it was called Light at the Box Office. You know what I mean? Oh, got him. Got him.
Yeah, grossing, what was it, $45 million worldwide?
Yeah, got. Okay, the best thing that I heard, somebody was, G Prime 85, who does those comics that you can see like behind the guests at on Timcast. He did one on. It showed Buzz Lightyear smugly smiling at a little kid and saying, "You're gonna die out like the dinosaurs,"
Yeah.
because that's what Chris Evans said about people who think like we do. And so somebody in the comments didn't know what the comic was referencing, so I laid it out, and then somebody responded to me and was like, "Yeah," and then Jurassic World beat it in its first week at the box office. So it looks like the dinosaurs are winning. Ouch. And the thing is that it's the second week of Jurassic World.
Yeah.
And so it
Yeah.
only made 54 million in its second week, but that was enough to beat Lightyear in its first week.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Lightyear is bombing is too light of a word, considering the budget that they had for the film. They're guessing that it's going to gross somewhere around $350 million, which is not
How's it gonna
quite
gross that?
enough to cover the cost of the movie.
How's it going to
Ouch.
gross 350 if it's only made 50 in the first week?
Exactly. That's for
Well,
the
there's still
entire
the-
run.
There's
Of
still
everything.
the world, right?
The
Yeah,
world
that's
only
what
brought
they're
in
talking
30
about.
million. It was 80 million worldwide. That was it for this
Yep.
thing. But yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no,
and
I
it
didn't
got
know
pulled
that
from,
it had finished worldwide.
Well, I mean, the other thing
Yeah,
too
it
is
got
the
pulled
world.
from like 14 different countries too.
Yeah.
They wouldn't allow it to show it because of its overtones about
Them
not the kiss.
lesbians.
The kiss didn't matter. They don't care about that. It's the overtone of the entire movie that woke is great, but woke is broke. So good
Got a
job,
deep state-
Pixar.
Quick deep state update. The Obamas use organic natural gas. There is a difference.
Well, they are sitting on the largest supply of hot air ever.
True.
I
Okay.
love seeing same sex mirage. What did I say that loud? Keep going.
Juneteenth, otherwise known as Father's Day, which I love how diluted we've made Father's Day. It is there was a poll that just got released. Out of favorite holidays, it ranks 23rd. I didn't realize there were 23 holidays.
To be fair, two things. You have a nation of daddy issues because most of the time there's not daddies in most of these relationships right now. And then on top of that, feminism has destroyed anything with a penis. So there's a lot of hatred, which goes back into daddy issues as well. But then on top of that, to be fair, to be honest,
To be fair,
guys don't give a rat's butt about love. We care about respect. So we're paying for our dinner anyways at Father's Day. So let's get real.
that is true.
It's a respect game, so it's all good.
So just saying. So what happened on this Juneteenth? There was a march. There was a big crowd in Washington, D.C. of people marching Juneteenth, celebrating that holiday of what was it, emancipation, right?
Well, what's interesting about Juneteenth is historically, right? It's signifying Texas finally, the slaves in Texas being emancipated by the Union Army.
Yes.
But wasn't Kentucky and Delaware still holding slaves after that?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Doubly
There's
so.
something.
Last state, huh?
Yeah, like it wasn't actually the last area to.
It's a Texas holiday because it celebrates the last slaves in Texas, which magically became a thing after St. George Floyd,
Okay.
Fentanyl Floyd.
So what you're saying is that if you lived in Texas, you knew what Juneteenth was before 2 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. And then
Yes.
BLM hijacked Juneteenth to make it a national thing, probably to disparage Texas historically. And, I don't know. Create some
anyways.
kind of national holiday that makes people think about BLM. Reminds us
So-
of slavery every year.
In Washington, D.C., this crowd is marching. And what is Washington, D.C. known for? Oh, yeah, they're massive gun control, right? You're not allowed to have guns. There's so many restrictions. You can't conceal carry in Washington, D.C. I mean, if you want to say gun control, and then there's Washington, D.C. gun control. It's insane. Oh, by the way, there was a shooting at Juneteenth.
What?
One police officer was injured, and 15-year-old unfortunately lost his life. And they found multiple guns, like somewhere around 5. And they have no idea where they came from, who shot, anything. So, good job on gun control.
Yeah, but if you put enough laws up there, it'll stop stuff.
Yeah, like Chicago.
Now, time out on the field, I didn't see marching. I saw twerking. I saw a lot of twerking. The carnal.
Well, that's
part of
what
me was
marching
weird,
is nowadays.
No.
That's what marching is nowadays. That's how you show that you don't respect the person that you're marching against.
So next time I march, I just need to twerk the whole way down the street. Is that what I do?
But please
yeah,
don't.
man. Especially
Please
in front of the any counter protesters. Oh yeah, work
Dear
it.
Lord.
You can't see it.
We're keeping it PG on this.
We just unleashed the beast.
Our boy,
Go
that
ahead.
guy says a lot of fatherless issues. Yeah, it all comes to daddy issues, but it's another story for another time. Salute.
Yeah.
Fathers,
And
more important than the media lets on about.
Just a bit.
just a smidgen. So that was rather interesting. And now getting into some more of the meat. The House passed a gun control bill, passed it on to the Senate, and that happened late Tuesday or Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night or Tuesday morning.
That's
whatever you want to call it.
That's the reason I titled the episode "Betrayal at the Capitol."
Yes.
And in the quotes, I asked a couple questions. What is the one issue that you thought that the Republicans would never sell out on?
2A.
Yeah. And then I answered it. Whatever it is, it's wrong. This time, it's the Second Amendment. Whatever you're thinking, you're wrong. The Republicans will sell you out on it. And this time, it just happened to be the Second Amendment.
Yep.
Yeah, Mitt.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's a.
Oh my gosh.
He's just the
go
worst.
Down the list. Just awful. They should not have Republican anywhere in their title.
No.
Just call him.
What are the
Blue Rhino.
details of this
Mormon,
bill?
guys.
What'd you say?
But he's a Mormon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Can you be Mormon and a Republican at the same time? I didn't think that was the thing.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think you could be Mormon and Republican at the same time.
He does it, bro. He does it well. Real well.
Is that why his health plan was the blueprint for Obamacare?
Stop. And he marched against Trump.
No, we can't talk about that.
We don't talk about that, dude. That's going to get us kicked off the platform.
So he's just Bruno. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Romney, no. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Now, the House passed this, correct, or the Senate?
The House.
I thought it was the Senate, but
No, it's the House. Because it has to be ratified by the Senate, and then the president has to sign it, and blah blah blah. And
But Romney's in the Senate, isn't he?
no,
Yes, Romney's in the Senate, man. I thought the Senate passed this.
It might have been.
Look it up. But either way, here's my question. In this whole situation, if you, I don't know, you guys are upstanding gentlemen, both of you. Okay, so you have probably never encountered this ever in your life. Some of us from the dark side of Ohio probably experienced this a few times. Have you guys
So
ever?
was the Senate.
Okay, cool. So here's the deal. If I don't know if you guys ever ran into this before, but let's say that your boy was dating a hoochie mama. Okay, you know what I mean? Like the hoochiest of hoochie mamas, and you knew that he was about to break up with her. Have you ever heard of chicks faking pregnancies to keep the relationship going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I literally had that vibe from this Senate vote all day long. Like, literally, they know the game is over. And the rhinos are like, crap, we cannot hide behind being the minority anymore. Because let's get real. Republicans hate you. Okay, they do. I hate to steal it from Steve Day's show, but he's 100% true. You know who hates you more? You know who hates Republicans more than Democrats? Republicans. They just
Other Republicans. Yeah.
hate you, man. And Romney's like, shoot, I gotta pull this off now before we're in power, and then I'm gonna be forced to actually do the right thing. So it's like, hey, I'm pregnant. Right before they know they're about to get tooted and booted. Because right now the estimation is the Senate is about to shift 4 seats. It's supposed to be like 54 to like something. It's going to be drastically different. I think the House, they're estimating 40 seat changes or something like that.
They're estimating around 38 to 40 seats in the House and 4 to 7 seats in the Senate.
The Senate, yep. So what's insanity, and if you need further proof of that, the bluest part of Texas just voted in listen to this, legal immigrant from Mexico who worked in the cotton fields, Mexican and a woman. So she's got the minority card and she's got the woman card. And wow.
And what's in front of her name?
An R.
Oh, she's a Republican.
Oopsies. So that's
but Republicans are racist. Conservatives are racist. They don't like women. They don't like other people that aren't like them.
The black libertarian said today, he's like, well, listen, if you put R in front of your name, it doesn't matter what your genitals are or your melanin count. You are a white male. So it doesn't matter. So. But,
somebody needs to tell her that.
I mean, so like the shift is happening. I feel like this is such a last ditch effort to do something about guns, aka take your rights. But can we please talk about? Go ahead.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna air quote this because it's not a gun bill.
Yeah.
This gun bill is not going to prevent a single mass shooting like they want everybody to believe that it's going to stop a mass shooting. It's not going to stop them at all.
Nope.
Not for a second. There's not going to be a single decrease in mass shootings at all. You want to know why? Most mass shootings happen in places like Chicago, LA, New York. Oh, why do they happen there? Gangs. Gang violence is obscenely high right now.
Restrictive gun laws for law-abiding citizens. So if you're a law-abiding citizen, it's harder to have a weapon to defend yourself.
Gangs don't worry about being shot back at.
Nope.
They don't.
They ain't worried about it.
Because the populace is unarmed. Why? They can't get firearms. In Washington, D.C., you have to have a permit to buy ammunition. In Washington, D.C., you have to have a permit to buy a magazine. In Washington, D.C., you have to have a permit to own a gun, which is almost impossible to get.
Now,
and yet, they still found lots and lots of guns, just dropped right there in the streets after a couple of shots rang out in a crowd of hundreds.
Okay, so
Now-
it was the Senate. To
Yes,
update,
it was.
what they did was Wednesday was a test vote, which they
Oh, so
passed.
was it an
So it
official
wasn't the
vote?
actual vote. Today is going to be the official vote.
Oh,
But it was 65-34 in the test vote. So I mean, they pretty much have it.
now
Yes.
Um,
50 Democrats, 14 Republicans.
two thoughts on this, Matt. I hate to state the obvious, but once again, a black man's going to have to save America. But second thought here: do you think that vote's going to stay the same after Big Daddy Clarence Thomas just shellacked any idea of restrictions for carrying a
Would
weapon?
you stop jumping the gun?
I'm sorry, I have to do it. I'm just so excited.
Man,
yes,
was
they're
leading
still
to
going to
that.
vote that way.
Being there.
You think
They're
so?
still going to vote. Yes, yes, they are. They're scumbags. They don't care.
But
They
with
don't
all
care.
the
And listen,
nuclear
and
heat.
here's the thing. Let's look at what this thing is. Okay, it's called the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. It enhances background checks for prospective gun buyers under the age of 21 because
Please tell me how enhanced background check. What is enhanced about the background check? It's
Nothing.
already a thorough federal background check.
I'll tell
By
you.
the way, I've been
Here's
through
what-
many of them. It's fine.
Yeah. It extends the time period from 3 to 10 days
Oh my god!
and allows law enforcement to, for the first time, to examine juvenile and mental health records. Okay, whatever. It also, and here's the hard part, okay? Here's the part that's completely garbage to me, though I am against background checks too. I'm against anything that infringes. I am an absolutist, you know. And because the answer to people with guns is good people with guns, you know.
More good people with guns.
Yeah,
than
more
bad
people with guns. An armed society is a polite society. No
Unless-
gun-free zones. None of that. There's a gun everywhere. So act like a human being, you asshole. Anyway,
unless you're the Uvalde, Texas police force,
yeah.
won't talk about that
Well,
yet.
exactly. Okay, so it sets aside $750 million in federal grant funding to help states implement so-called red flag laws, which allow authorities to temporarily confiscate guns if a court declares a person to be a danger to themselves or others, and for other intervention programs, including mental health courts. And now I want to read something about red flag laws, and I'm going to look it up while Dusty speaks.
Go, Dustin.
Okay. Red flag laws. Question. Does the person that is being red flagged get notified about this?
No,
Um,
no due process.
do they get their fair day in court to defend themselves?
No,
So there's no judicial process for them to say, hey, that's just an angry ex-girlfriend who's jealous that I've moved on and married somebody else, or this is just an angry boyfriend who wants to screw my life over.
You're pretending the Constitution still matters.
I'm not. I'm actually just asking practical questions that is going to be abused by this law. This law.
You're a racist. You're a racist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
You're a homophobic, racist, phobophobic.
I'm
Right.
going to
That's
go...
why I'm wearing the white shirt.
Let me read this Twitter thread, okay? This is from a person named Alexandria Brown. She is involved in lawyering of some sort, all right? And so she breaks it down better than I've ever seen anybody do it. So I'm going to read her thread.
Okay.
It starts off Sorter Twitter Law School. Let's talk red flag laws and ex parte orders and due process, and how anyone who tells you don't worry, the process won't be abused and there are robust due process protections is, at best, wildly naive and, more likely, is lying to your face. Your legal vocabulary term for the day is ex parte. This means without party in lawyer Latin. An ex parte order is one issued without both parties being present. There are valid reasons for this. In matters where time is of the essence, courts need the ability to issue orders. This is to protect the person, property, or rights of another. To move it out of interpersonal matters, in civil litigation, a temporary restraining order may be issued for documents or items to be preserved because the other side might dispose of them before suit can be filed. Ex parte orders are needed due to human nature. Sometimes things need to be done quickly and courts are not designed for speed. Make no mistake, though. The due process protections for the party against whom the order is issued come into effect after the issuance of the order. To show the potential issues with red flag laws, I shall discuss what happened to a client with the issuance of a protection order against him. He had an ex-wife who was bipolar and who refused to take her meds. She continued to harass him years after their divorce. She showed up to court with a black eye and said he punched her in the face. She sought a protective order against him, which the judge issued. She also filed a criminal complaint for assault against a woman. The protective order statute requires gun confiscation until hearing. The client learned about this when the police showed up to serve him with the order and summons for court appearance. He was stunned by this, not only because he didn't hit her, but because he was out of the state on the date this supposedly happened. The client told the police this. The police shrugged and said, "We're just here to serve you and get your guns. We're just doing our job." That is true. The cops do not adjudicate. They only do what the court says. So he turned over his guns and then got in touch with us later that day. Boss and he were longtime friends. The boss told him to get together every bit of documentation about him being out of town, hotel receipts, meal receipts, any video of him at the gathering he was attending, all of it. Boss also got in touch with the DA and said he was out of state. He couldn't have done this. DA said, "I'm not dropping this, but move to dismiss, and we'll hear both motions at the 10-day hearing on the protective order." So we filed the motion to dismiss and motion to consolidate, and then Boss went to the hearing. The crazy ex didn't show up to the hearing at all. Boss presented everything to the judge. Judge told the DA, "Withdraw the charges or I'm dismissing." The DA said, "Fine, I'll withdraw." Now it's better for the stats on the DA's side to withdraw than to have the case dismissed. Judge also refused to extend the protective order. Client asked, "Where do I pick up my guns?" Judge said, "You have to go through the paperwork to do that." We'd anticipated that, so we had the forms ready and the judge signed the forms. Client said, "Where do I pick them up?" And judge said, "This has to be processed. It'll take 3 weeks. Client also asked the DA when the hearing would be for the ex's perjury charges. The DA said, "What perjury charges?" Client got very upset because it was obviously perjury. He wasn't even in the state. She provably lied. That's perjury. DA said, "No, we don't charge in these cases." 3 weeks go by and client starts calling the sheriff's office to get his guns back. He keeps getting the runaround. Boss had to threaten to go back to court to get an order compelling compliance. When client picked up the guns, his Mossberg shotgun was gone. The sheriff's office initially denied that he even had one. Luckily, he'd kept a copy of the inventory. It took 7 months for him to get reimbursement for the Mossberg. The sheriff's office never did say what happened to it, other than that there must have been a mix-up. While all of that is going on, client was looking for work. He had 2 interviews that went well, and he was told that he would be offered the job once the background check was done. Both jobs retracted offers after the background check came back. So we had to get copies of the background checks from the background check services. Sure enough, due to how the database on the state side was maintained, the data scrape pulled the protection order and the charge, but the dismissal wasn't showing up yet. Client now had to decide if he wanted to disclose to a potential employer that, "Hey, I have a crazy ex who claims false things about me. Here's a copy of the dismissal paperwork," or if he wanted to wait the 5 weeks it would take for the dismissals to propagate through the database. Also, the dismissal paperwork on the criminal charges was marked dismissed due to failure of complaining witness to appear. That said nothing about she lied about this entire thing. Boss had to explain the situation to employer, who thankfully listened. Because they were friends, Boss handled this at a very low rate. It still cost the guy $2,500. If it had been at Boss's standard rate, well over $10,000. All for something that was an actual lie. But Alex, due process, it worked. Sure, in theory it did. The protection order was not renewed. The criminal charges were dropped. He got all but one of his guns back. He got a job eventually. It all worked. Sure it did. All it cost him was $2,500, months of his life, humiliation during interviews, and immense stress. For a lie. She was never charged with perjury. There was no point in suing her since she didn't have any money. If you think that this won't happen with red flag laws, you are suffering from disordered thinking. And hey, isn't that a red flag?
Yep.
But believe all women. Believe all women.
Believe
Because
all
women never lie. Women never lie. Never,
No, it's
never,
true.
not once. Not once. So,
Listen.
what can we take away from this?
Women are
Red flags are dangerous. And
Red
they should
flags
never be
are dangerous.
implemented.
They do not work
No.
for the innocent, and they
Well, they don't-
only
Something happened to your
punish
audio.
the innocent.
Dusty.
What?
I can hear him.
Oh, well, you're not coming through to me. That was weird.
That was weird. Okay, can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yes, start over from they do not.
Okay. Okay, so
Oh.
they do not prevent people from doing bad things. They only punish the innocent. That's the only thing
Yes.
red flags do, is they punish innocents.
Wait a
Because
minute, is that the only thing that gun control laws do too? Is punish the innocent?
yeah,
Yes.
they punish the innocent, the helpless, and the poor more often than not.
Well, F the poor.
So yeah,
I mean, compared to them, we're
sounds
all
like something
poors.
True. Well, we're cattle to the elites, so it doesn't really matter. We are just a product, so it is what it is. But keep going.
So that came out way, way late on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning.
What happened today?
Today, this little tiny thing called the Supreme Court ruled in New York's concealed carry gun law as unconstitutional, recognizing the right to carry in public. What part of that is unconstitutional? The part where when you're filling out the form, it asks you, what do you need this for?
Mm,
The only thing that should be said is, I have a constitutional right to do this. That's all that
Yep.
needs to be said. You cannot say, oh, you don't have the right to do that because you don't have a real reason to need a gun.
Yeah.
And New York's been doing that for over 100 years.
It's basically
how did they
Ron.
get away from that?
It's basically Ron Swanson with his piece of paper that says, "I can do what I want."
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's absolutely true.
Exactly.
You can.
And I'll take all your bacon and eggs while you're there. So keep going.
Yes. Whoa, wait a second. Now, I believe that you just heard, "I want a lot of bacon and eggs." What I actually said was, "Give me all of your bacon and eggs." Do we understand each other? Yes, sir. Good man.
The best Ron Swanson scene. Everybody thinks that's the best one. Now that's a good one.
It's a good one,
Number
but it's
2
not the best one.
To me, the best Ron Swanson is when he gets the vegan bacon. Did you ever see that one? As a sample
Just
store.
keeps throwing it in the garbage.
Love that. Thank you. He throws it in the garbage. Can I have another? Wait. You just threw the. No. I'd love another one. He gives him another one and he just throws it in the garbage. I love it, man. I love it.
My
Swanson,
favorite was the time when he was sitting at the circle desk and he just
Yeah.
kept turning his chair away from the lady. I'm trying to talk to you. Hey, what are you? Hey. Love that. Doesn't say a word, just keeps turning. Anyways,
Man.
getting back to this, in a Supreme Court voted 6-3 on June 23rd to strike down New York's draconian concealed carry permitting system on unconstitutional grounds. Now, this is going to have some pretty big ripples because
Yep.
there are 40 other states that do the exact same thing. 40.
It includes Florida. We have to have a concealed carry here to carry a weapon, right?
We have concealed carry, but the question is, why do you need this? is
It's gone
on
now.
actually the Florida thing, and you don't really need to fill it out. It's just on there.
I mean,
So
it's
all of it
Go
is
ahead.
going away.
Yeah,
Across
I mean,
the board.
because the fact that this has been ruled on. Thank you, Clarence Thomas, and thank you, Donald Trump, and thank you, God, for appointing Donald Trump to appoint the people that are going to end abortion federally and end all this gun tyranny.
Now
But,
that hasn't been ruled on yet. That hasn't been ruled on. It's just been
Sure.
rumored to be ruled on. So
My
we're still waiting for
fear,
it.
my fear is that they give us guns and then backtrack on abortion. That's what my fear is right now. That's why I haven't been like dancing on the graves of Roe versus Wade. But this is a good step, and I think that what's hilarious is this: they could have waited a couple weeks to let this ruling out. Does that make sense? They could have waited like
Right.
we're waiting for Roe. It is hilarious that this happens 2 days after the midnight decision from Mitt Romney.
Not
and
even.
the douche,
It hasn't even
douchers.
been 24 hours. Hasn't even been
Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah.
And they drop it, boom. Is that
Like-
not a statement to say, guys, go ahead and try and pass that. We're going to find it unconstitutional pretty dang quick.
Well, there's no point of voting on this now. There's literally no point in voting on this now because now you're like, well, it's going to get thrown out either way. Like,
Yeah.
even if the guy who needs Q card, did you guys see the Q card today from your boy Biden? Y'all see
Sit
that?
down. Yeah.
Sit down, and then you're going to sit there and listen, and then you're going to read the teleprompter, and then you're going to get up and leave. Got it all, man? Like, even if he puts this in the law, it gets destroyed immediately.
Yeah.
So there's literally no point. Like, he is literally a lame duck president, which is hilarious because the midterm hasn't even happened yet. Like, but what terrifies me is this: everything's working really well for conservatives right now because we had a lot of appointments that went the conservative way. Does that make sense?
Right.
Now I'm pissed at them at the Texas ruling when it comes to the election because they're just pussies and wouldn't deal with a federal issue. But that's another story for another time. But the danger is this: the Supreme Court has kind of become political, right? Because they released this a day after a horrible ruling, right? Think about that.
Yeah,
So
the
if this
day after
ever
a
shifts,
horrible bill passed.
yes, if this ever shifts where it's Sotomayor's everywhere in the Supreme Court, you're in trouble. Like, we're in trouble real fast. Now, the good news is they don't typically go back on Supreme Court decisions, but Roe versus Wade is one of those. Now, I'm excited because I don't want babies to die. Does that make sense? But
Sure.
Well, Roe v. Wade
but
is
here's the thing.
not a federal thing. It's just kicking the decision on what to do about abortion back to the states instead of the federal government, which is wonderful in my opinion. The states
Yes.
should have that kind of control. That way we can go, okay, this state doesn't want to have it. This state does. This one wants this. And we can go, okay, that state sucks because of this. This state is better because of this. And it really kind of draws that distinction between the states and allows the states to decide, hey, we like this, we don't. Fine.
Yep.
It's a lot better than the federal government saying, you must do it because we say so.
Okay, here's the deal.
whoa,
The Supreme Court is always a problem because the Supreme Court. I mean, okay. How do I want to put this? The problem is not that these cases are going up from the Supreme Court and that they're ruling. You know, that they're making rulings. It's how they make their rulings. So, like, you know, Clarence Thomas, you know, rules whether or not a thing is constitutional, which is what they're there to do, right? And so that's good no matter who's doing it. You know, as long as their standard is what the standard of the Supreme Court should be, is this constitutional or not? The problem is when you get things like Roe v. Wade and then they make laws. When they're activist judges who fancy themselves legislators.
Yes, that is an issue. Now, one of the benefits is you get briefs with these rulings, and you get to read about why they ruled in what way, and they're able to give more distinction. For example, one of my favorite rulings was on the reading of the Second Amendment. A fundamental change in the way we read the Second Amendment. Let me pull it up here because I want to make sure to read it accurately.
It's just for deer hunting, right? It's just for deer hunting.
The Second Amendment states
That's
a
only for the
well-regulated
Army.
militia, well-regulated militia. What did they mean by well-regulated? They meant
Well, obviously,
well-trained.
no. It means that
And
the government is in complete
well-supplied.
control of it.
Yeah,
No.
government.
It doesn't.
Government.
No, it doesn't. When it
Oh,
was written
exactly.
in 1776, regulated meant a completely different thing than it does today. Today it means we
Well
control
trained,
it, we
well
do this,
armed.
do this. Back then it meant well armed, well trained, and well supplied, well regulated. Now
thought that
there
meant
is a
hunting.
comma after that states being necessary to secure a free state. So in that first phrase, it was referring to being able to protect the United States. Because back then, they didn't have a standing army. So what did they use? The militias to protect us from other countries. That's why they needed to be well armed, well trained, and well supplied. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. So now we're talking about a different thing because, again, another comma, so another subject. So that's also being part of it. Shall not be infringed. So shall not be infringed is referring to the militia as well as to the people to, let me
The
rephrase,
right to bear arms.
or read it, the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Now, it does not distinguish the right of the people to carry certain types of guns that aren't too
Just a
scary.
musket. They
or
only had muskets
even,
back then.
or even, you can't have a cannon. No, it says arms. That means all arms, cannons, tanks, military planes, helicopters. They didn't distinguish on any of them. They said
with a
it's our
permit.
right
With a
to
permit.
bear them.
With a permit, right? With
No,
proper permitting and
nope,
just for
not
deer
just
hunting,
for hunting
right?
either.
Yes.
They
Basically,
wanted us
what
to
it
be able to
says
carry
is
them.
because a well-armed militia is necessary to keep freedoms, and that the people are what make up the militias.
Yep.
The people's right to keep and bear arms cannot be messed with at all, ever, in any way, shape, or form. The people need to have guns in order for freedom to keep going. In
Yeah,
this
but you need
country
to
and
write-
in any country.
But you got to write on a piece of paper why you need that gun. New York knows what's best.
Yeah.
Dust.
So the umbrella for that entire amendment comes down to one simple thing. Do you have the right to defend yourself?
Yes.
And the
From
Second
anybody.
Amendment clearly states we do. That is what the militia is, and that's what it's designed to do, is to protect ourselves.
No,
So,
if three pedophiles want to shoot you in Kenosha, Wisconsin, you can't defend yourself. Clearly, you would be a white supremacist racist if you did something to shoot white pedophiles that are trying to kill you. Okay, I saw the TV.
you saw the headlines. Got it. So what the Second Amendment comes down to is, do you have the right to protect yourself? Do you have the right to protect your family?
Yes.
That's what it comes down to the crux of the issue is, do we as Americans have the right to defend ourselves with lethal force?
Yes. And you know what? This isn't just an American ideal. This is natural law. In other words, we find this truth in the workings of nature.
Yeah.
When you go into a mama bear's cave where she is raising her cubs, you don't come out. And nobody looks at the
Why?
mama bear and says, you horrible monster, how dare you? They look at the person
How dare
who
you
was
use
fool
your
enough
phone?
to walk into her home where her kids are, where her cubs are,
Atheist.
and says, you got what you deserved, you idiot.
Atheist.
That
and
the
Buddhist.
bear has the right to defend itself.
No.
That's natural law.
No.
If the bear has the right, you and I have the right, because we are in dominion over the animals.
No, you're cattle for the elite, so you're not allowed to. Only
So-
them are only they have guns.
Yeah,
So it comes down to
that's what they want.
do we
That's
have
the world
right
that
to
they
be able
want.
to protect ourselves using the best tool possible. And it doesn't. The Constitution does not limit which tool it deems best possible. It says bear arms. That means whatever arm we feel is necessary, whether it be an AR-15, an AK-47, heck, even an RPG. You want to go that nutso? I'm fine with it.
Nuclear
Is that from
weapons.
Doom?
What?
What's the gun you shoot in the room and everybody dies in Doom? What's that one thing called? Big effing gun. What is it called? The BFG.
Yeah, the BFG.
I'm losing your audios left and right, ladies. Ladies and gentlemen.
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Dusty?
I can hear you just fine.
Now I can hear you.
Listen.
It's only until I say something. As soon as I say something, it
Listen.
fixes.
They know you're getting off the grid. You're coming off the system, bro. They're punishing you right now.
Yeah, they probably are.
They know you're
He's
coming
on
off
the
grid,
roll.
bro. You don't own me. I love it. I love it.
So, anyways, that's pretty much where it comes down to is the Supreme Court, because of the way it was elected, has fixed a lot of the unconstitutional things that the Supreme Court previously said, well, we're okay with it. Doesn't matter if it's constitutional or not. We're okay with it.
Yeah.
So now it's getting ruled on. Now, with this ruling being not even 24 hours after the Senate passed that bill, I highly doubt that they're actually going to pass the bill because they know that's going to get struck down. They know it's unconstitutional. They know that the laws of several different parts of the Constitution would not allow that law to pass.
Yeah.
Now,
Go ahead.
now, granted, Mr. Biden with a pen, I have no doubt would be happy to sign whatever is put in front of him, even if they asked him to sign not his name, he'd probably sign
Is he the
not
one
his
signing
name.
it, though?
Hmm?
Is he really the one signing it though, or is it already signed by the handler, and then he pretends to, like it says on his card, pretend to sign this, and then
I don't know. It's probably just like him riding a bike.
Yeah. Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, he
He's
knows how to
got like a stamp
knows how to
or
run this
something.
country about as well as he knows how to ride a bike.
I just kept thinking of Queen's bicycle as he's falling to the ground. You know what I mean? So
It is what it is.
And it's
Boys.
funny because he wasn't hurt.
Well,
listen, the mess ups of the elite don't ever hurt the elite. It just hurts us.
that was a good analogy of the real world.
Like inflation, all this craziness, all that fun stuff. It doesn't really affect them. It just affects us.
So, I got a final thought. We ready for final
Okay.
thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So,
Stupid Matt Whaley. So I'm gonna blame Matt Whaley. He blamed me earlier in the show. I'm gonna blame him on the show.
Yeah.
I had totally. I'd listened to Steve Dace for like 2 seconds, like a year ago, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he is so gloom and effing doom all the time." Chill. Like, it's still my beef with him. Okay, listen.
the Blaze is not a perfect place. I like the Blaze. It's not perfect. I mean, my favorite person on the Blaze is Jason Whitlock. Admittedly, Jason Whitlock, I agree with about 95% of that comes out of his mouth. Even the edgy stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm with you, dog. I'll go there. You know, and then I disagree with the most, probably Glenn Beck, just because, you know, I'm, you know, discernment. But all I would have to say is that I've already said it on the show. Steve
that's
Gase
funny.
is like, he's probably the second that I'm closest to on opinions on things. But him and I just see it differently. I happen to come from the school of thought that God's in control. Even the most grim things that we possibly could see from a nation-wide is probably for our betterment in the first place. And it's going to work out because God said it is. We win at the end. You know what I mean? Which he admits every once in a while, but it's after about an hour of complaining about how horrible the world is, which is hilarious because he is a post-millennial. Do the math on that. But that's another story for another time. So now, here's the deal. And I'm not dissing his eschatology. I'm a pan-millennialist. It's all going to pan out anyways. Now, here's the deal, okay, with your boy. He made a very strong point, and I can't. I want to disagree with him, but I can't. And I'm going to steal it right now in my final thought. There's no clever way of escaping what we're going through right now. Everybody is excited about the red wave that's about to happen, and it's going to happen. No doubt about it whatsoever. But is it going to matter? That's the question at hand. Is a red wave really going to do anything? Especially when you've got eye patch McCain's, you've got, I'm going to get to the bottom of it, Lindsey Graham, you got Dr. Oz potentially. Dr. Oz, shoot up your kids with freaking vaccines that are experimental Dr. Oz, potentially as Republicans. So they're not really any better, right?
No.
There's no clever way we're escaping this insanity, okay? Now, the hope that he gives after 7 trillion layers of negative is you've got to be super involved at your local level, right? And I go even deeper, right? The first local level is your heart with Jesus Christ. Next layer is your family. The next layer is your church. Start winning those battles there, and guess what? You're going to start moving the needle, okay? Which I wish we would emphasize that more. But what I would say is that there's no clever way that you're escaping the madness. You're not. Even if there's a red wave, Biden is still president. How's that? How's Wall Street looking right now? Brr. Matt, close your ears right now. Close your ears, Matt. Cover your ears. Just doing that. I don't. Crypto's killing it right now, y'all. Right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there's so.
Yeah, most
I love
crypto
you, man.
is garbage.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. I don't understand how Bitcoin, which is separate from the market, is responding to the market. But that's another story for another time.
Nothing is separate from the larger scope of the market because the market is people. So.
Yeah.
But we can argue about that later.
Yeah.
We'll save it for the show. We're out of time on this show. But my point is, there's no clever way of escaping the madness. Okay, you're going to have to deal with it some form or fashion. I go on vacation and my budget had to triple for a stupid vacation that I budgeted for a year ago. I wish I could have escaped. Couldn't escape it. Okay, when I blew a tire 2 years ago, it cost $100. This time it cost me $210 to replace a freaking tire. Okay, that's insanity. Okay, when my phone would bust before, I could replace the screen for about $100. It cost me $400 this time. It's insane what the pricing is for things. Gasoline
Stop breaking your phone.
Bro, it happens.
He's the Iron King, you know. That's Iron King problems. You can't help it.
When I'm pumping iron and the weights get in the way of my phone, it happens. It's either the iron or it's going to be the Samsung. It happens, bro. But my point is this: you are not cleverly escaping what is going to happen. That's by design. We can contrive the smartest ideas, put the most Republican people on the planet, blah 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 blah. True salvation from this madness is repentance. That's all it is. It is putting our faith and trust in Jesus Christ and repenting. And I need to say that to myself every single day because I'm a crooked sinner. I am the worst of the worst of the worst. I think I'm so smart, I can escape all the madness all the time. I do. I literally was like, oh, I'm gonna escape my job that I have right now and get a job that pays me more. And then I didn't get the job, but praise the Lord, he saved me from it because then I found out from my recruiter how bad the place is that I potentially was going to go. So I got saved. I literally got saved. And I thought, man, I'm so clever. I'm just the smartest little boy. I always make the smart business decisions. I buy at the right time. It's all on me. No, it's God's providence. It always is. It always will be. We got to keep God first. There's no smart way of escaping what's inevitable. And we just all need to accept that going forward because Eye Patch McCain is not going to save you. He's not. Ted Cruz just voted for $40 billion to get handed to Ukraine. How's Ukraine doing right now, kids?
They're about to fall. They're completely surrounded. All their
Ukraine-
major cities are surrounded. Their ports are surrounded by Russian forces. Yeah, Ukraine's going to fall.
Fox
Giving them
News told me that
billions of dollars of funding is
Yeah.
not going to stop that. We are literally throwing money in the we're burning money is essentially what we're. Hey, Russia, you mind lighting this fire in this huge pile of cash?
Oh well, you gotta hide the hookers and the sex slaves. You
Well-
know what I mean? So
And
let me counter this.
Biolabs. Don't forget the biolabs, the 46 of them.
in the biolabs, you know.
Listen.
But here's the thing.
But here's a thought. They're not throwing money into the trash. I mean, they're taking our money and they're laundering it real quick through Ukraine one last time.
Yeah.
Back to them.
One last hurrah.
But I guess I shouldn't be saying that.
now, we're blocked instantaneously. But here's the thing. Remember, Russia was the evil bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
They're the evil bad guy. They
Yeah.
still haven't invaded Kiev, by the way. They literally did exactly what they said they were going to do. They went to strategic places. By the way, does anybody know what the strongest currency in the world is right now?
The ruble.
The ruble. But how? We've got such like superior morals, and our our sanctions are just so righteous and holy.
Ukrainian flag up right in my profile, guys. I got a Ukrainian flag in my profile.
All the
Good for you.
Ruskies just sent to you guys was spasiba. That means thank you in Russian. Okay? They really are glad. They think I'm a Russian spy now. Red flag laws. Dang it.
Yep.
Right? So it is what it is. Privyet. Как дела? But my thing is this. You were ready for the Russian, were you, Dusty?
I was surprised you knew that much Russian.
Privyet. Let's just say I worked out with some Russians back in the Dizzy. But my point is this. Now I've put myself on the list. Biden's going to be knocking at my door.
You Russian
We're all on the
sympathizer.
list.
I know
We're all
we are.
right-wing
But here's the-
extremists.
Yep.
Didn't we say the Ukrainian thing was BS from the beginning? Didn't we say that on the
Yeah.
show? Didn't we
Oh,
say
yeah.
that over and over and over again?
The moment
Did-
Russia even said, "Hey, we're going to invade Ukraine," like, this is BS. This is not our war. Why are we funding this? Can we just go back to Carter? And how well did that work out for us?
No,
Did that
nobody
work
was
out
alive.
well for us? No, it did not. We spent millions
Right.
upon millions of dollars and got nothing. What are we
100%.
doing now? We're spending billions and billions of dollars. And what are we getting? Nothing.
Yeah, it's just making things more expensive for us.
Yes, we
now.
are.
But
We aren't.
but here's my point.
But here's my point. The elites are getting plenty. We don't know what it is. We don't know how much it is. they're getting something out of this deal.
100%. Because let's get real. Russia was never really the problem. Obama loved Putin. Biden loved Putin. They both loved
Yeah,
Putin.
we had a reset
They really
button.
do. Yeah. Right? Like, they love Putin. Hillary Clinton loves Putin. Okay? They all love Russia. And they did their darndest to make sure Russia won, and they did a great job of it. Congratulations. The ruble wins. And Americans are suffering. Not because of Putin's price hike, but because incompetence all over. But there's no clever way of escaping the bad king. There's no clever way.
It's a good thing that all the banks, and it's a good thing that all the banks and like financial institutions were against skyrocketing. And you know, we know things like the Rothschilds, and that's all conspiracy theory. So they definitely don't fund wars and make money off of currencies, you know, falling and rising, and you know, because of wars and.
Stop. Now, what I would say is this. Here's what I would say. And I'll be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like my parents are divorced. Okay. I feel like I did when I was 17 in my house, right now in America. I feel like there are two people. They're sticking around for the kids. That's how I feel every single day in this country. I literally feel like you got the West Coast and the coastal elites that don't want to share a country with us. And I'm sitting here in Florida looking at the rest of you idiots in the world and thinking, I don't want to share a country with you either. And we're just sticking around for the good old red, white, and blue. Okay? Now, let's get real.
So doesn't it feel like if Daddy DeSantis would just divorce Mama Pelosi, everything would be so much better.
Now, again, I'm not advocating divorce. I think divorce sucks. Bible's clearly not for it, right? God hates divorce.
In this case, you know, we're not dealing with people, or we're not dealing with an actual marriage bond. We're talking about a country. And we're talking about a United States that's not very united. And let's get real. They don't like
Northern and Southern Kingdom.
Yeah, we don't like them. And they don't like us. And we're cool with it. And they're mad that we didn't watch Buzz Lightyear. And they're mad that we're not giving up our kids to them to get indoctrinated by gay stuff. You know? They're mad because they're not having kids. And they're cool with the birth rates getting crushed by 5 months due to the jab. But we won't talk about that either, even though it's a peer-reviewed study about that. But my thing is this. Long story short,
we like that they're mad. Because that lets us know that we're doing things right.
That's true. But my thing is this. I don't think there's a clever way you get back the red, white, and blue. Sorry. I smell Israel and Judah coming. It's weird, you know? Like, I was reading in Ezekiel, like, they'll take their pride, and I'll take that pride and make it their folly. I literally was reading that the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh. We're loving pride right now, and God's going to use that as our folly. And I'm sitting there thinking, the South's kind of like the South of Israel, which was Judah. And they kind of broke off and did the right thing for a short amount of time. Right?
Yeah.
But my point is this. We're not escaping the inevitable. Our country's not going to be the same 50 years from now. If you think that, you're high. We're not. Rome split up for a reason, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I love Glenn Beck. You know, he's got lots of high discernment, and I know he's really scared of that happening. I'm not, because a country boy can't survive. The people that are going to come with us are the farmers, are the warriors, are the men, are the dads, are the followers of Jesus Christ. We're going to be fine because we keep God first. And the godless coasts, you can get swept away by your fictitious climate change. But we're not escaping the inevitable. And that's my final thought. To you, boys.
I like the way you keep saying inevitable.
I am inevitable. I've got my Thanos glove I get it that it's too hard to get to right now.
Gotta get that snap every time you say it. I will say it.
I gotta get
So-
my Josh. Like,
My final
weird
thought is this, and this actually is nothing that we discussed actually tonight, but it's something that I've been thinking about. And I just recently ran across a mathematician, and he had an interesting theory about why we're in, part of why we're in the predicament that we're in today. What is the one thing that everybody keeps saying that we're short on? Workers, right? What happened during the pandemic? The senior pilots were forced to retire. A lot of people who've been in the same job for the last 30, 40 years, hey, move along. We don't need you anymore, get out. So they all took these huge retirement packages and whatnot. And I'm not criticizing them at all. I would do the exact same thing in their position.
Yep.
But who were they that retired en masse? The boomers, the baby boomers, right? What happened after the baby boomers? They pretty much stopped having kids. The population rate after the baby boom dropped significantly and has been dropping significantly ever since. We don't have a shortage of jobs. We have a shortage of people. There's not enough people to fill the jobs. And because a whole sector of the population retired in the last couple of years, we are feeling the effects of that issue of there's not enough people to fill the jobs. And I don't know that there will be enough people to fill those jobs. It used to be back in the 80s that a family was man and wife and 2.5 kids. Well, you know what the average is now? 1.9.
Oops.
So that average has dropped quite a bit. That means there's much less people having kids. That means the job situation is going to continue to be more difficult. And with the massive increase of minimum wage, it's scrambling. And the market has just been fluctuating up and down, just massively riding these huge waves of here's the ton of money. It's like throwing a rock, a gigantic trillion upon trillion dollar rock into a pond and watching this tidal wave go out and another wave and another wave and another wave. And this added not enough people in the workforce. It's the first time where the workforce has dwindled to the point where there's just not enough people to do the jobs that we need done. So my final thought is this. The waves are still coming, and they're going to get progressively worse because the Fed is not doing its job. And the president, who is supposed to be kind of in charge of the Fed, is now mandating all these weird things that's causing the Fed to go, okay, we need to raise this right when a peak of a wave is hitting, causing the market to go. So we're in a lot of trouble with what's going on.
When you say the Fed isn't doing its job,
Correct.
it's not doing the job that we think is its job, but it's actually doing
Mandated
what it's supposed to be doing. It just doesn't work for us. It never did.
Yeah.
It was created by the elites for the elites.
Yep.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve is the government of the elites, by the elites, and for the elites.
It's just a QAnon conspiracy, man. QAnon, bro. Just QAnon.
QAnon.
Government never lies.
No.
But why would they lie?
What? But why would they lie? You know what's funny is I think the people that that used to say that to me, like they will never. They like, I've demonized that so bad to the point where like they refuse to say that in my face anymore. It's so funny because people would say that and be like, they were so like, why would they lie? You dumb. Sorry, you're so dumb.
Because they can get away with it when they lie.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
why.
Yeah. But yeah,
Well,
to your point,
because
Dusty. Go ahead.
telling you what they're actually doing would hurt their power and their wealth, and that's what they're about. Duh.
Yeah.
Isn't there a big erected stone in Georgia that says they want to reduce the population to 150 million people? And part of the gay agenda that Little Nas X just talked about last week was to make everybody gay so that population would spike down, and then these jabs lower sperm counts for up to 5 months. That's why you have to get a booster every 5 to 6 months. And then feminism tells you that babies are bad and you should just work as a slave, and you should work to the slave of the state or your job, and not to that evil husband that might give you children. And then on top of that, we're trying to find male birth control that's out there now, which used to be just testosterone and steroids, but that's another story for another time. But long story short, hasn't that been the plan the entire time? Just and if you slip up and have a baby, you just kill it in the womb, and that weather really takes off. And they've been telling us that there's too many people in the world anyways. For how long have they been telling us that? Even though you can literally take the entire population of the world and give them 1 acre of land, a house, and 1 acres in the land space of Alaska. Do that, by the way. That'll blow your freaking mind. Because I got so sick of hearing that from people. I was like, you are so full of crap. You can literally take every person on the planet, give them 1 acre of land and a house, and you can literally put them in the land space of Alaska.
That's insane.
But, by the way, there's too many people on the planet.
Yes.
Because there's more of you, it's harder for the elites to control. But I digress. I give the floor to Matt. Sorry. But good point, Dusty.
This non-binary's got a good point. Come on, man. You got to protect grandma. Even though the governors from certain states throw COVID-positive patients into nursing homes. Well, we can't. No, we can't talk about that. That's that's legit murder, but that's by people who are better than us. Our betters did that. That can't be illegal.
We got rid of Cuomo. He was our scapegoat. He's gone now. So
Yeah.
no more COVID.
Yeah. Cuomo's the only one who did that.
Final thought.
Let's see, do I have a final thought? I just want to jump on what you said, like where there's no clever way to escape this. And that's true, there is no clever way. There's actually a very simple way. Beyond, there's obviously what you mentioned, and you're absolutely right. Jesus Christ is the only way. But mathematically, there is a very simple way. So in the early 20th century, in like 1918, I believe, 1919, or early 1920. Don't pin me to a specific year, but it's in that time frame. We had the stock market crashed, worse than the crash of 1929.
No.
But we had probably one of the best presidents that has ever taken the office. And
Joe
you
Biden?
probably don't think about him often, and that's probably by design because he was a really good president, and his name was Calvin Coolidge. And so the stock market crashed, worse than 29. And what did he do? He cut the size of government in half, lowered taxes, and they went on from there. And then, boom, the Roaring 20s. They recovered in like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Covered in like a year. Then he's out of office. 1929 happens, and you get,
An entire decade.
yeah, an entire decade. We're the only country that calls it the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Because we did exactly the opposite of what the world did. The world did what Calvin Coolidge did, and it was over in a short amount of time. We did, it wasn't the Great Society, it was the New Deal. We did the New Deal, and we screwed ourselves over. There's an answer to this inflation. There's a mathematical answer to the current state of things. But we don't have people in office who will do that. There's no Calvin Coolidge anymore. You know? I mean, there is, but it's called the Libertarian Party, and everybody says things like, well, I'm not going to vote for a third party. That'll just give the election to the Democrats. Well,
Yeah.
You know, they just can't get the votes. Yeah, because you won't vote for them. Dummy. Yep. They can't get the votes because you won't vote for them because you think that you're going to get a D instead. You know? But really you're addicted to the R's. Right? Now, I'm not here to say vote libertarian. You know? I'm not here to say that. I'm just here to say, like, there really is it's not a clever solution. It's a simple solution that no politician in the mainstream is prepared to do at all, ever. That's why, and that's at the federal level, and probably at the state level too, for the most part. But that's why local politics is so important, because you can actually run. You might actually win, and your city could do things like that, and actually have a pretty smooth ride through this. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know the specifics of what. I'm not going to predict the future, but it's like all we hear about these days is like modern monetary theory, and it's all very clever. You know, it's all very sophisticated economic theories. But the truth of economics is actually really simple. Supply and demand. You know? Lower taxes, better economy.
No.
You know? Things like this. It's basically if you don't have it's a question of pride, really. Pride is our downfall. We don't have the humility to recognize that our monkeying in the economy never turns out good. We don't have that humility. We're arrogant. Our leaders are arrogant. And they think that raising the rates is going to help us with this inflation. No. It's not. It's just going to make life worse. But they're sophisticated, which means they're actually arrogant. And so they think that their monkeying will do something. Now don't get me wrong, these arrogant sophisticates don't monkey in the economy for our best interests. You know, they monkey in the economy for their best interests. And that works. It's working for now. But eventually this house of cards is going to come crumbling down. And then what will they have had? They'll be reaping the fruits of their arrogance. And then we'll be suffering along with them. So I guess what I'm saying is, let's be humble and do the simple things that make numbers work better. You know? Let's do simple math. Let's run a simple economy. and do it locally. First, do it locally first.
I like that.
No, I do. Yeah, you're right. You're right, CEO of Chevron. We understand that you're not price gouging us. Yes. He says, I'm surprised they let Biden ride a bike without training wheels. That was a big mistake. Although,
Seriously,
I have
what?
little girls, and I have seen them do exactly the same thing with training wheels or without. So
Yeah.
they shouldn't have let him ride a bike, period.
Yeah.
It should have been, a hover round, and and then that's it.
They're trying to show that he still got it, man. He's still
Exactly.
He's still there.
Yep.
Approval.
He's
Yep.
got something. I don't know what he's got, but he's got something.
What I love is that at every turn, their attempts to make him look like he still got it always fail.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not even like half the time they work. They never work. Ever.
Yeah.
This is just the hand of God. Like trying to force people awake. But everybody's eating up their pride month, and they're, and that's all that they want. They will refuse to accept that they voted wrong.
Yeah, guys. You don't read Ezekiel right now because you'll literally not freak out because exactly the same thing's happening right now. Like the exact same things that are happening in our country right now. Or Jeremiah, because Jeremiah warned them, just stop doing this. Just stop doing this and you'll be fine. And then they didn't listen to him, and it all went bad. So
Yep.
I'm with you. Boys, I love you. Stay safe out there. I know those bikes are hard to ride. You know what I mean? So be safe. You know what I mean?
On that note, you've been watching Plausible Foolishness, the home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free, the taxes are voluntary, and we serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/plausiblepoolishness, YouTube, Facebook Live, but more importantly, anywhere you can get a podcast. So please follow us there and make sure you download us every week. Also, you can find us on social, on Twitter and Truth Social every now and then. I'm actually enjoying the heck out of Twitter right now. I don't know why, but I finally found a social media that I enjoy plugging away on, and it's mostly just snarkily reacting to leftist garbage. But so you can follow us there at P Foolishness. But thank you guys for watching, for supporting, and again, spread the word, tell your friends, tell them to pick up the podcast. That's where most of our focus is, even though we do this live stream, but that's just because we like looking at each other while we talk. So, and we figure you want to see this this cavalcade of manliness. But anyway, we'll see you guys next Thursday, 7:30. Peace out. God bless. See y'all.
Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets.